Yeah, and like you said, the Falcons won for the second week in a row, 30-17 against the Bucks, of course, avenging that week 5 loss, which was great to see them end on a high note. But they also had a loss. And, whether it's talking about the loss of Dean Pease as he has decided to retire from being the defensive coordinator for the Falcons, or if you talk about all of the dominoes that have fallen in the NFL so far, Cliff Kingsbury being one of them, Lovey
Gone,
Smith being another. You can get
gone.
all the reaction on Locked On Sports today because that's what they do. They talk about the biggest stories, like how those ships actually fell, all the way down to the wire of the last week of the last day of games in the NFL yesterday to play out the play. They'll complete the playoff picture. That's where you can go and find that information. So again, it's Locked On Sports today, and also they'll give you their take of the day, just like we give you cool information and our takes in for the culture. So again, after you check us out at Odyssey or the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast, make sure you check out Locked On Sports today. Now, going back to the win, which was great, but then you come the next day and you get a loss in Dean Pease, and you think about the great opportunity that the Falcons had for Arthur Smith to even get him to come out of retirement in the
Right.
first place, and then for
Yeah.
them to get him 2 seasons in a row. And we talked about this last week because there were kind of some rumblings there. But really, when you look back at it, we said, well, it's still kind of in good hands because at least you got Dean Pease for 2 years. And then if you go with his linebackers coach or his D line coach, they at least know that system and probably will keep that system in place. Don't know that yet, whether they'll
Right.
stay in house or go outside. But
Mhm.
regardless, I believe that Dean Pease definitely left an imprint. And definitely, Jarvis, you can say that he left a legacy with the Falcons.
Absolutely, because when you think about, you can just see the passion and the drive that he still had up until his last day. He left his doggone place. Not, man, left the Falcons facility as far
Mm-hmm.
as retiring
Right.
because I ain't like the way that sounded. It didn't come out right. But yeah, I think because he's a guy that, he has standards, right? But he
Yep.
had, ways that he's won. Like he's won multiple Super Bowls. And, and a lot of defense coordinators can't say that. Actually, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
only like 7 or 8 guys who can say that won with two different teams, multiple
Yeah.
teams. So I think when you think about what the legacy that he had as a coach and what he
Mm-hmm.
tried to bring here and tried to establish here, and I think he established a little bit of that because when you think about coming down towards the end of the season, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
teams weren't scoring over 20 points, T,
No.
and they gave the offense plenty of opportunities to
Yeah.
get some dubs towards the end of the season, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that that's all you can ask for given the situation with all the salary cap and
Yeah.
not really having that much talent, not really having that much talent up front. Hashtag pass rush matters.
True.
So I think that when you have all those things in place and you put it in the pot
Mm-hmm.
and you say, "Here you go, Dean,
Right.
do work your magic."
Magic.
I think he did a pretty stand up job, and I think that a lot of people don't. I don't think a lot of people realize that because a lot of people are excited about Dean Pease leaving. I'm just like, all right, okay. Like, were you watching
Right.
at any point during the season as far as like what this dude had to deal with and what
Right.
he was as far as injury wise as well? So
Yeah.
so yeah. Shout out to Dean Pease for doing a stand up job in the 2 years he was here as the Falcons defense coordinator.
Right. And did anybody look back at last year and the head scratcher that Richie Grant was in his coverage? Does anybody remember that Michael Walker was coming up, but he wasn't quite there yet last year?
Right. Yeah.
Jalen Hawkins, we weren't quite kind of sure of what to make of him. The reason I mentioned those guys first is because of the imprint, like you said, the standard for excellence that he was going to set no matter where your talent level was, because you were going to understand the playbook. You were going to know where you were supposed to be at all times. And then he was going to expect you to be there, or Richie Grant, you won't get playing time, right?
Indeed.
Last year or this year, Michael Walker, you might not start. Or on the flip side, in the positive perspective, Isaiah Oliver, somebody
Hmm.
finally figures out how to utilize you most
Development.
effectively. So you
Yes.
come back from the injury and have yourself a year. Those are the kinds of things that I feel like Dean Pease has left a legacy and an imprint in terms of players understanding that they always need to rise to the next level and try to evolve their game. And that it's more than just about this raw talent. You've got to bring to the table some football IQ as well. And I also think about players like Rashawn Evans, who maybe was here on a prove it, but working under Dean Pease one more time. Kind of think he might be back here next season and may bring a good philosophy. So, yeah, a pretty nice legacy that Dean's leaving now. One of the things we talked about as well is when, and this could be underneath on the defensive side, could be on the offensive side as well. Just kind of depends on where your thinking cap is.
Mm-hmm.
But every year we look at somebody and we say, wow, that guy, he did it. He progressed year over year. And man, he's going to be gangbusters next year. And some people are head scratchers. And we go, what the heck was this season for him? Like, that's not what we expected. So whether it's on offense or defense, who's the guy that just surprised you and you're like, whoa, now that's some progress that I think is going to be absolutely incredible for the Falcons going forward.
I would have to say it's Drake London.
Okay.
Because when you think about like the way he came in, right? He came in with injuries, nicked up, and a lot of people knocking the speed, not being able to create separation. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people who didn't want him on his team. you know, so because we wanted somebody. If for those who are listening, we're raising our hands because we wanted somebody who could sack the quarterback.
Yep.
That's just kind of how
Yeah.
we lust for that type of those type of things. Well, I lust for T don't lust. She's a
No.
yeah. I'm God
Just
still
rooting
ain't
for
God
him.
ain't through with me yet.
Yeah.
So
We're just gonna say
let's go.
rooting with for him. Yeah.
Right. so when you think about the way he progressed during the year, and then like coming down toward the end of the season, like the rapport that he had with Desmond Ridder, like he kind of talked about that a little bit when, during the rookie mini camps and all that stuff,
Mhm.
but you started to see that it was real, like it
Yeah.
was confirmed. I'm talking about to the
Yeah.
tune of 36 targets, 25 catches, 333 yards in
Yeah.
4 games. So
Yeah.
yeah, think about that. Think about that. That is a very nice connection that you have something to look forward to in
Yeah.
2023 for the Atlanta Falcons. So I think the Drake London's progression is somebody that I was just like, okay, I didn't see that coming. I was thinking it was going to be a guy kind of come along, work him
Mhm.
out, and then once you saw the quarterback change, it was just like it was a different player. And I think
Mhm.
that says
Yeah.
a lot about Drake, and that says a lot about Mr. Number Four as well.
Oh, I agree. And that's exactly what I was thinking. Like you really saw what Drake London could be in these last four games. Not that you didn't see hints of it in
Right.
the first four,
Indeed.
but it was just incredible in the last four. And also, I want to add to that list Tyler Allgeier because just the
Yes.
chugging. I mean, like every
Yes.
game, it was just like he was just building on what he did the last game until he just finally exploded these last four games. And I remember saying, on this show even last week because we kind of knew like don't even try to like get at him and say, oh well, he did it in a 17-game season. No, he was inactive the first game. So if you want to give William Andrews all the credit in the world for doing what he did in 1979 as a rookie, you've got to give Tyler Allgeier the same credit, and I might actually give him even more because he's a fifth rounder. So that's my guy who I felt like game by game I saw some progress that was extremely encouraging. Now Jarvis, let's be real, it's not always a good look. Some people do take a step back. So for you, who is that guy that made you look like, wow, I didn't expect this season from him?
Wow. It would probably have to be Michael Walker because when you
Yeah.
think about like the way he started out, coming into leading up to the preseason with Deion Jones and people being, I know for me, I was okay with Deion Jones
Oh
going
yeah.
by the wayside because
Yep.
I was like, hey, number three gonna step in. Even Dean
Exactly.
Pease said the same thing as far as
Mhm.
he wanted him to be that signal caller.
Yep.
He said he pointed him out at the end of last season
Sure
that
did.
hey, this is gonna be my guy who's gonna call plays for me. And when
Hmm.
you think about from coming from that to start the season and
Hmm.
then get some confirmation, right, some
Right.
justification behind that to start the season, and then you just gradually saw as Troy Anderson start getting those snaps, whether they
Hmm.
were earned or not. That's my opinion. I don't care
Right.
about what y'all say, whether they were earned or not. You just saw the regression, like as the season went along, and I think that's truly unfortunate, and
Hmm.
it got to make you wonder whether or not this is going to be a situation where he's going to be around to have an opportunity to make the team, or
Yeah.
they might be looking to move on from him. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
that was one that was kind of a head scratcher when at the season went along.
Yeah, I would say the same. And I think for me, I probably would have to give him that cosign too, because we spoke to him before, like back in what last season? Yeah, the beginning
Yeah,
of last season. And we were excited about what we saw as he progressed under Dean Pease. And like you said, Dean Pease identified him as, hey, that's our guy. That's basically the quarterback of this defense. And then all of a
indeed.
sudden we look up and the quarterback of the defense is no longer there. So that's kind of a tough call uh, for us. But hopefully, it'll be a regression that maybe sometimes, Jarvis, you have situations that take you out of your rhythm. Sometimes you have little injuries that we may not know because maybe you're not injured enough to not play or
Right.
be put on IR, but maybe you're just injured enough not to be your best self. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, he's my player as well. And of course, tomorrow we're going to dig down a little bit further and we're going to talk about Desmond Ridder. We're going to talk about Tyler Allgeier. We're going to talk about Drake London. And because Kyle Pitts is not on the field or wasn't the rest of the remaining part of the year, we're just going to call them like our three musketeers. And we'll talk tomorrow about what we expect out of those guys next year. But also, if you guys are excited and have great expectations about tonight's game, for example, or even what those guys are going to do next year, and you just want to celebrate it, well, some people celebrate with chocolate. So that means you can celebrate with a Built Bar. And here's the exciting part, they got some new twists to it for 2023.
Oh,
If you have a goal like we do of eating healthier, certainly you can do that, but you don't have to compromise taste. Why? Because you're talking about 100% real chocolate. That's what makes these Built Bars so good. And these are some cool flavors if you're into like different flavors: churro, peanut butter, brownie,
churro.
coconut almond. I like almond. You like churros, so we probably can find a middle ground there. But definitely 130 calories, not a bad look for a candy bar, 4 grams of sugar, and most importantly, remember before 15 grams of protein, they've upped their game, 17 grams. And the ultimate elevation of the game, no more built.com. You can go there if you want to, but you don't have to. You can go to Walmart or you can go to Sam's Club as well. Walmart, of course, will have the smaller options, the 4 bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. Sam's Club, you can get up to 13 bars. Again, that churro is a good look. So be sure to thank Jarvis and I later when you get your Built Bars.